Please don't let Daryl Brooks be in this video. Oh, hey, it's America's Attorney here, and I'm reacting to top sovereign citizen moments. Part 3 from A&E. Let's get started.
First up, we're in Dayton Municipal Court in Ohio for a bench trial. Judge Mia Spells presiding. 55-year-old Anthony Matthews has been charged with driving on a suspended license. Matthews considers himself a sovereign citizen, someone who believes that certain laws don't apply to him. And as the trial begins, it's clear that he's not planning on playing by the rules.
I regret that you dismissed this matter immediately.
Matthews has already filed several motions aimed at challenging the court's authority over him, but the judge isn't swayed.
Let me explain to you the rules here in the court. Let me explain to you the rules of the court, sir.
I'm not here to take part in fraud. Not at all.
Judge Spells warns Matthews that by continuing to interrupt her, he's pushing his luck with the court.
You can be found in contempt if you continue to interrupt me. We'll proceed with trial with you in abstention, sir, and we're going to find you in contempt. What I'm going to do is give you...
That's the record. Respect the court of
I love it that these sovereign citizens will come into the court system and they'll say, hey, I'm above all this, right? You can't make your laws apply to me. But then while they're in the courtroom, they try to play by the rules. They say like, I'm making a motion that you dismiss this case or let the record show. Like, what do they care about motions and evidence? They're saying I don't play by these rules unless they think playing by the rules might help them.
You're interrupting the proceedings of the court, sir, and it is direct contempt. It is direct contempt, and we're going to take you into custody, sir. We will...
All right, so I want to explain this real quick. The judge is saying, I can hold you in contempt, and it's direct contempt. There's two types of contempt as it relates to disobeying a judge. The first type of contempt is indirect contempt, and that's the type of disobedience that happens when you're not in the courtroom. A classic example is if a judge tells someone to pay $100 a week of child support, and they don't do it. Well, they're not supposed to pay while they're in the courtroom. It's every week. They're supposed to pay $100, and they don't do it. Not doing it is disobeying a court order, and it's indirect contempt, meaning that there has to be evidence. There has to be competent, admissible evidence about what you did wrong when you were outside the courtroom. But direct contempt is a different animal. No evidence is needed because the contemptible behavior occurs in the courtroom. That's direct contempt. If you disobey, you can go to jail without a trial because you have already kind of convicted yourself. It's rough.
Give you a hearing, and you'll have the hearing. We will find counsel for you.
Don't touch her. Don't touch her, man. Don't touch her. Don't touch her. I'm not. Don't touch her. Don't touch her.
Oh, wow! Dude! They were punching him! The dude with the mustache and the dude with the beard.
Throws several punches at Matthews.
No way! I cannot believe this.
Staff cleared the area.
The judge! Zoom in! The judge grabbed her coffee! Oh my word! This is so crazy. Disobeying the judge is direct contempt. But the resisting arrest and the assault and the battery, those are actual felonies, right? And the judge could be a witness in the trial about those crimes. She's not gonna be able to be the presiding judge and be a witness. And actually she wouldn't need to testify because it's all on video. But I cannot believe this dude is just going full felony in the courtroom. What's crazy about this, and this may come up in some of the later reactions, I don't know, because I'm doing this blind. These sovereign citizens, they do want the laws that they like. Like, this guy doesn't want other people to batter him, right? He would say, that's illegal, you can't punch me in the face. But if he wants to punch someone in the face, or he wants to fight, he can do it, he can get away with it, because the laws don't apply to him. They just apply to other, schmucks. People like me.
Get on the ground.
More deputies pile into the courtroom as Matthews is taken to the ground. In total, 6 people are involved in taking Matthews down. After several minutes and 2 pairs of handcuffs, Matthews is escorted out of the courtroom. The following day, Matthews appears again before Judge Spells to answer for the contempt of court charge. He's still representing himself, but this time he has a new attitude.
Yesterday's proceeding was in error on my behalf.
Uh-oh.
I take full blame for my actions.
The court believes the conduct of Mr. Matthews severely threatened the integrity of the court and its proceedings, and such that immediate action was necessary.
Judge Spell sentenced Matthews to a year of probation and time served for both the driving on a suspended license and contempt of court charges.
Okay. What?
But he was also charged with 2 counts of assault on a peace officer and 1 count of obstructing official business as a result of his scuffle with the court deputies and other court officials.
Wow, they could have gotten him so much worse. Now, when you commit direct contempt, which you would never do, but if you did, there is a legal limit on how long the judge can lock you up. She only gave him 1 night in jail, which is amazing to me. She can put him away for 90 days. That is the limit. There's no mechanism for stopping judges from imprisoning people. And so the courts have said that 90 days is as long as you can go on direct contempt. And so for him to get 1 day is pretty impressive.
We're in Eureka, Montana, and the man wearing the no hunting or trespassing sign around his neck is Ernie Turtle, Montana's proverbial sovereign citizen, better known as the natural living man. The 57-year-old's in court today representing himself on charges of driving with a suspended license and obstructing a peace officer during his arrest. But now, after Turtelgett interrupted proceedings during jury selection, Judge Stormy Langston holds him in contempt of court.
You are in contempt, Mr. Turtelgett?
No, I'm
Don't
not.
be quiet right now.
You
I
are
will
in
have you
contempt of
arrested.
law, Stormy. You're in contempt of law. I'm standing for my
Officer
country's
Hines,
constitution, my
Take Mr.
country's
Turtelgett
people.
into custody, please.
And I'm not keeping hands off me, Clint. I'm private.
As security attempts to remove Turtelgett, town attorney Clifton Hayden keeps one of his supporters at bay.
Do we understand? Keep your hands off of me. Keep your hands off of me. Keep your hands off of me. Clinton Hines, you are guilty of conducting a military crime of war.
Just as it
What?
looks like Turtelgett is being escorted out, he isn't.
What are we doing? Back off.
Leave me alone, Clinton.
This man
Leave me alone.
deserved
Clinton.
it. Leave me alone. Unconstitutional.
He hasn't done any wrong.
Somebody get hurt.
Why has no one been able to tell him what wrong?
Back off! Are you getting in it?
I would buy a t-shirt with the city attorney's face on it. Back off! Are you getting in it? I love that guy. Oh my word. This guy wasn't always a sovereign citizen. And I'll tell you how I know. Do you know? Do you know? Because he's not driving without a driver's license. He's driving with a suspended driver's license, meaning at some point he went and got one. Now, why would he do that? Maybe he didn't know about his own sovereignty until he was a little older.
When I comply, it will not be because contract is established.
Your Honor, can I ask a question without getting contempt for it?
What is your question, sir?
My question is what did Ernie do wrong? What did he do wrong?
He's not following the procedure and was...
Court has no jurisdiction.
What are the procedures to follow?
There's 2 questions that he's really asking. What did Ernie do wrong to get him into court, right? And then the other one is, what did he do wrong while he was in court? And those are very different things. When he received his citation for driving on a suspended license, that's when he was notified of what he had done wrong. You don't get indicted for that. It's just a citation. You just get it. They don't even take you into custody. But when you come into the courtroom, you have these rules that you have to go by, mostly regarding the processes of the courtroom, which is going to be things like respect for the court, obedience to the court, the rules of evidence, and the rules of procedure. Now, you're not going to get held in contempt for violating the rules of evidence. You're going to get held in contempt for violating the direct commands or directions of the court. And these guys are present in the courtroom, and they saw him disobey the judge. So these questions they're kind of dumb unless he's asking, how did he get a citation for his traffic violation?
Following the incident, Ernie Turtelgett was found guilty of contempt of court.
I saw that
but served
coming.
No jail time. He was also charged with assaulting a peace officer. That case is still pending. As for his original charge of driving with a suspended license, he was also found guilty, but again served no jail time. The charge of obstructing a peace officer was dismissed.
What? Oh my goodness. How do these guys get away with this? I will say this. Maybe they are sovereign citizens. Because if I did that as a lawyer, I would be buried under the jail. And these guys are getting no jail time. It's a double standard. That's crazy. If you are watching this and you yourself are a sovereign citizen, and so your whole point is that there isn't jurisdiction over you, I have a great little piece of advice. It's free. If you don't like the ruling against you, appeal it. Lack of subject matter jurisdiction is always reserved for appeal, whether you raise it at trial or not.
Next, we go to a preliminary hearing in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The defendant is 38-year-old Gregory Parker. He's been charged with reckless endangerment, driving with a revoked license, resisting arrest, and a number of other charges. 4 months earlier, Parker was driving on a Tennessee highway when State Trooper Dale Herring clocked him going 91 miles per hour in a 65 zone.
I've driven on that highway, never 91 though.
After a few minutes, the officer catches up to him.
It's a red Chevy pickup with ladders on top. Yeah, I believe he's looking for a safe place to pull over. 221, we're approaching Broad, 18 miles an hour at the stoplight.
After a couple of miles, Parker comes to a stop at a traffic light. He's also been live streaming the incident over social media.
Yes!
Well, I'm being pulled over. Got a Tennessee Highway Patrol behind me.
Hey, get out!
So far, so good.
Get out of the vehicle! Get out now! Get out of the vehicle now! Get out of the vehicle now!
Whoa!
Get out of the vehicle now! Emergency, brother. You have any weapons on you? What's the problem? Put that cell phone down.
What crime have I committed?
You didn't stop.
I'm trying to find a safe place to pull off, brother.
You didn't stop. You passed up plenty.
Oh.
You're under arrest.
You have a warrant for my arrest?
You're under arrest.
For what?
For not stopping.
Parker was arrested and released on $60,000 bond.
It's not for not stopping. That's not a crime. Fleeing is a crime.
Get your hands off of me.
Sir, move out the
I
way.
do not consent with this anyhow. Don't be pushing me around. Before I cross this bar, I waive no rights and I retain all my rights.
Hey, let's talk about the bar for a second. You have heard probably that attorneys take something called a bar exam in order to get licensed. That bar exam is a nickname for the test that talks about that bar or that railing that actually runs through the courtroom. They can throw some pictures of it. You see these bars in every single courtroom. Passing the bar is the thing that allows you to pass the bar. So if you're a lawyer, you can be on the front side of that bar. And so anyways, he's claiming that he's not waiving any rights by passing the bar. I don't, you know.
I don't have an attorney. I have no need for one.
The judge provides Parker with a public defender who will act only as an armchair attorney.
For real. If someone is offering you a free attorney, you should take it.
He asks Herring a number of seemingly irrelevant questions, perhaps hoping to confuse the officer.
When did you come to the determination I was driving?
When I got behind you and you're behind the wheel of the vehicle.
I think that's been answered, sir. You can ask your next question.
Do you know the difference between driving and traveling?
I'm going to object to that question because it's irrelevant under the state law.
That's completely irrelevant.
I'll sustain the objection. You may ask your next question.
Who was the victim in this situation?
I'm going to object to the relevance of that.
Sustained. That is not relevant. You may ask your next question, sir.
I ain't playing y'all's game no more. Go ahead, do what you do.
I find that there's probable cause to believe that all these crimes were committed, and they were committed by this defendant here in this county. And I will bind these cases over to the grand jury.
Parker's pled not guilty, and his trial is pending. If convicted on all charges, he could spend 20 years in prison.
That's an interesting take on what's happening in the courtroom. So to the judge, to the lawyers, to the rest of us, it's not a game. It's the actual bedrock of a society that's founded on laws. It's only a game to people who think that those laws don't apply to them. But it's not a game. It is a fact that if the government is allowed to treat us without the restraint of laws, then we're not free. We're free because of the laws. And in the same way, if we have a substantial number of people living under those laws who say it's just a game, we're screwed, because the system only works if everyone agrees that the system works. And so people like this, they have to be brought in line into the system so that we can all be free. Well, that was something else. I'd love to know what you guys thought about these wild sovereign citizens. Do they have more rights than you? Should they have less? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure you check out more Attorney React content here or here, and just subscribe and hit the bell notification button so that you can be one of the first people to find out about our new uploads. I'll see you next time.
Big verdict.